Welcome to Unjammed, the software strategy series for print leaders, brought to you by GelatoConnect. If you're a print service provider who's felt frustrated by software that overpromises and underdelivers, then this series is for you. Whilst many printers have invested heavily in building their own systems, software development is moving faster than ever, and staying up to date and competitive requires more time than many PSPs can spare. So, in just 5 short lessons, you'll get the clarity, tools, and confidence you need to take control of your production setup without needing to become a tech expert. Hi again, and welcome to the final episode of Unjammed, the software series for print leaders. I'm Ellie, I lead product marketing at GelatoConnect. Over the past 4 episodes in the series, we've unpacked the hidden complexity in print operations, how to evaluate tools, where AI can make a difference, and how to build a system that works together. But all of that means nothing if your team can't or won't use the tools. Implementation is where good intentions so often fall apart, and in print, where literally every hour of downtime counts, the pressure is really high. So that's why our final episode is going to be focusing on how to roll out new software successfully and make the change actually stick. I'm joined by Dasha today, who's supported dozens of implementations in PSPs across formats, sizes, and systems. She knows what works, what fails, and what to expect during those tough early phases. Dasha, thanks so much for joining us today. Before we dive in, can you please introduce yourself and explain your role to those who are listening?
Hi, Ellie. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Dasha, and I am an implementation lead here at GelatoConnect with a background in customer success. And what my role really is working closely with your teams in order to onboard and to actually roll out the software. I kind of project manage across all 3 modules, and I'm your internal champion to make sure that everything is running smoothly.
Thanks, Dasha. It's great to have you on today. So, why do so many print software projects struggle after the initial contract is signed?
Thanks, Ellie. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. The tech is actually often the easy part. The harder part that I've noticed is the change management or learning how our teams work together. You could have the best software tools in the world, but you won't succeed without 3 things. And what I've seen those to be are a plan, a champion, and the patience to push through the dip.
Let's talk about that dip for a second because I think a lot of teams aren't prepared for it. What makes that initial phase so tough?
Let's be honest, new software slows things down oftentimes before it really speeds them up. That is scary to people, especially in such high pressure environments like print, and especially with a software that is as critical to your operation as Gelato Connect. The most common reasons that we see for failure are that there's no clear internal owner of the project. We also see failure when there is skipped data preparation, when there is a lack of training or rollout support, we often see a lot of challenges. And also when there's unrealistic expectations, especially from leadership. People often expect instant results, but the change actually takes time and it's a real process.
What can PSPs do to avoid that situation, and what are some of the key kind of ingredients for successful adoption of a new software tool?
This leads me to what I call the 3 pillars of a successful adoption. And before I kind of speak about what those pillars are, one thing that I can't stress enough is that a successful onboarding isn't just about checking off boxes, it's remembering why you started. So it's easy to get caught up in the details of tasks and workflows, settings, and fixes. But the teams that see the real transformation are the ones who stay focused on the bigger picture, which is building a business that's faster, smarter, more competitive, and already ahead of what's next. So adoption isn't a to-do list, it's a mindset shift. And when you lead with vision, the day-to-day starts to follow. So that to-do list, leave that for us. The PSPs should focus on the bigger picture. So if I had to boil it down, successful implementations share 3 things, these 3 pillars. The first is a phased rollout, like I had mentioned before. So you want to start with one location, one team, one product line, even. And you will want to test real workflows. So your gut is going to want to select the smallest customer first to minimize the risk. And this is okay, But the real change happens not when you're addressing the lowest risk, but rather when you're addressing the biggest pain point. You'll also want to build confidence in your team before scaling. So change is uncomfortable. It doesn't happen overnight, as we all know. So we really ask that you, as the leader of your team, encourage your team to voice their feedback, excitement, concerns, and overall to lean in and be a part of the vision and really help us make that change management. The second pillar is operator training. You really want to enable your team to be independent and self motivated. So, one thing that we will focus on training your team is not just what buttons to click, but why to click them. Why does it matter? Why are they doing what they're doing? Um, we'll also use real scenarios, video walkthroughs. Our help center is so robust. We have an awesome chat bot. So, we really have a lot of resources here to help your team along the way. And not just the per point of contact that we're speaking with, but we really want to enable your team, your champions, to lead their peers as well, so that they can explain things to other employees. They can teach, they can spar, they can talk about all of these features, and then ultimately come back to us with that feedback and push us to become even better. It's really all about the community and building with that community. So now the third pillar is having a designated champion. You heard me just talk a little bit about that in operator training, but a designated champion is really someone who internally owns the process. They collect the feedback, they track the progress, they escalate issues to us. So I can't stress enough how important it is to involve someone who is self-motivated and genuinely excited to nerd out with us and to learn. Ideally, of course, this person should also be respected and embedded in your day to day operations.
Okay, so it's not just install and go, no matter how smart the software is. It's kind of install, guide, adjust, and essentially recommit.
Exactly. Well said, Ellie. Yeah, my favorite moments are when a PSP finally creates that first workflow that otherwise seemed so elusive, and we see them go, "Whoa, that's awesome!" That's really where the magic happens, in my opinion.
Thanks, Dasha. So, if you're watching or listening to this and you recognize some of the challenges that we've been discussing and you feel like you need help planning your rollout, you can download our implementation readiness toolkit. It includes a phased launch plan, a training checklist, and internal comms templates for you to use to make sure that the software you've invested in is widely adopted and used by your team. You can grab it at gelato.com/connect/strategy, or you can check the episode notes. So, Dasha, going back to the onboarding process, what does success actually look like in these early stages?
You'll find yourself past the dip when you're no longer waiting for us to tell you what's next. Rather, your team is challenging us and asking us bigger questions and pushing for more. That's when the fun really kicks in. What you can look for are these signs. Usage starts slowly, but gradually grows, and it becomes quite steady as your team gets more and more accustomed to the tools. You'll be seeing fewer manual workarounds. Questions will shift from how do I do this to can it also do X? How can I make it do Y? Have we thought about Z? And your internal champion is sharing updates and improvements both with you as the leader and with us as a team. So don't panic if it's bumpy. It's usually bumpy in the first 30 to 60 days. That's completely normal. The key is communication and grit, not perfection.
Absolutely. And it will be so worth it in the end. Dasha, do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom on driving software adoption before we wrap up?
I would say if there's one thing that I've learned from working with PSPs, it's that adoption never goes according to plan, and that's totally normal. So the important part isn't getting it perfect out of the gate. It's about having structure, knowing what to expect, and being ready to adjust as you go. So whether it's your first rollout or your fifth, the goal is the same. Give your team the tools and the support, and it'll stick.
Thank you so much, Dasha. That was the perfect way to close out this series because strategy isn't just about picking the right tools, it's also about making them work for your people. So, where does that now leave you, our listener? Hopefully, you feel that you've got more clarity, more confidence, and a roadmap for change. Maybe it's identifying where complexity has crept into your operations, or reviewing which tools you should keep, connect, or cut. Or maybe you're AI ready and you just need a place to start. But whatever your next step is, take it and know that you don't have to figure it out alone. You can book a free consultation with the Gelato Connect team anytime at gelato.com/connect/strategy, or you can download the full software survival kit, which is all of the 5 takeaway tools that we've shared across this series together. And if you really feel that the series has helped you, please do send it to a fellow print leader. We made it for people just like you. So thanks again for listening to Unjammed, the software series for print leaders.